Hey, what's up with you guys? It's the Master Key with Electric Dollar Bills here with another video for you guys. So today, I want to jump right into a video that I have been supposed to be making for a while, and I've gotten lots of requests for this video, and this video is so super important. That's why I wanted to bring it to you today. And today I want to show you guys how to fill out a purchase agreement to purchase real estate, okay? So you guys know that in order for you to put properties under contract, to lock up a deal, so to speak, you need to put a purchase agreement into play, so you actually can use that same purchase agreement to assign to another person, which is going to actually be your end buyer. And once you do that, that is how you're going to get paid an assignment fee to get you a check at the closing table, okay? So some of you guys may have watched my video. If you haven't, I'll put it up somewhere around here or in the description somewhere, where I told you guys about my first deal and how I didn't know how to get paid because I didn't know how to do this, okay? I knew how to put a purchase agreement into place, but I didn't know how to do the next step, and I didn't know how to execute it, and I didn't know how to get that over to a closing attorney or a title company to have them do that for me, okay? So I'm putting together a two-part series, and I'm going to show you guys how that is done. So we're going to do two steps. We're going to first do the purchase agreement. I'm going to show you how to fill out the purchase agreement. I'm going to show you what clauses that are important to put into that purchase agreement to protect you from different types of things. So we'll go through how to do that. And then on the second part, I'm going to show you guys how to fill out an assignment agreement. And that assignment agreement as well, I'm going to show you what to put into that, how to fill that out. And then what you do is you take both of those agreements, you put them together, and then you submit that to the company. So we're going to go through everything. I'm going to show you who's supposed to sign what, who's supposed to fill out what. We're going to go through everything. We're going to break it right down. So we're going to jump into my computer so I can show you guys hands-on how to get that done, okay? So I'll see you guys over there. All right, guys, this video is sponsored by CALLRAIL. Now, CALLRAIL is a super resource to have in your real estate investing company, your wholesaling business, and other businesses as well. CALLRAIL is a company that I have been using from the very beginning of my wholesaling career. I got my wholesale, my first phone number was a CALLRAIL number. I want to say I got CALLRAIL probably about a couple of months into my business. Now, this is a really great resource. They give you you can have up to 10 phone numbers. Now, that is 10 local numbers, but you also can have toll-free numbers as well. So don't get it twisted. You can have toll-free numbers as well. With CALLRAIL, I have one myself. I think it's just maybe $1 extra. You get 100 text messages, 500 local and soft phone minutes. So with CALLRAIL, you can download the application. So when leads call your number, you can have them ring right to your phone. You can have them ring to your assistant's phone. You can have them ring to any phone. But they also have something called a soft phone, guys. And that means you can actually call right out of your computer. And I do this all the time. You can log right in at callrail.com, sign on in, and go to your lead center. And you can call right on your computer. It can ring. You can set up a microphone, or you can just talk through your speakers. It works really well. Like I say, I use it all of the time. You get 1,000 form submissions. You get 10,000 transcription minutes. Now, this platform is integratable with a lot of other companies and softwares like that, like CRMs and things of that nature. Is really important for you to have a good phone system, and this is at the top. It's honestly one of the best in the building. They have the best in the business. They have 4 different plans, starting at $30. This is the one I have. I've had it since the beginning. They haven't changed the price on me at all, even with all the new upgrades and things like that. It's called the Lead Center. Then you can do the $45 plan, and you can just kind of see what they offer. And if you go up to some of the higher plans that you can see, you get unlimited messages, unlimited minutes, and things like that. If you download the app, you can do the text messages right through your phone. Guys, it's super, super easy. You definitely want to check it out. And if you click on the link that I have in the description box, guys, you will get 14 days free to go ahead and try this platform out. You know, you can start a free trial. And the great thing about it is no credit card is required. You know, sometimes when you are doing subscriptions and trials and things like that, they want you to put in your card number. And sometimes you might forget and you end up getting charged and you don't want the service. That's how great they are, guys. That's how they know how good their service is. They don't even care if you put a credit card in or not, because they know you'll be back once you test this system out. And I'm telling you guys, I've had CALLRAIL for like 5 years now. It's been a long time. So it's been a long time coming. I have them. I would not ever let them go. I tried other phone systems in the past. Nobody stands near CALLRAIL. So, you know, you go ahead and click the link and just, you know, take a look, play around with the system, play around with the software, set it up. It's really great. I'll be doing another video going into detail about some of these features and things like that and some of the pricing. But I just wanted to go ahead and show you guys this here today. So go ahead and check out CALLRAIL, guys. It is a great, great, great feature to have. Super affordable, super simple for the price and the value and the features that you get. I mean, it's nothing out there better, guys. So check out CALLRAIL. Now let's get back to the video. All right, guys, we're here inside my computer. This is the contract that I use still to this day. I've been using this contract for a long, long time. I've tweaked it a lot over the years just to make it friendly for different markets and things like that. But for the most part, every market that I go into, they are totally fine with this. I will give a disclaimer too, guys, before you submit this agreement, which, I mean, it's no big deal, because if there is an issue, your attorney or your title company will tell you. But I would just say, you know, show them this agreement before you even have anybody sign it, and just ask them, hey, is this fine? Is this okay for me to use in this market? And then just make sure you get the okay from your attorney. I am not an attorney. There's a ton of different states, and different states do things different ways. But I've used this in several states and I haven't ever had an issue. But like I said, disclaimer, you know, I'm not an attorney or anything like that. So I'm not a title company. So before you use this, just go ahead, shoot an email over to the title company or the attorney that's going to be doing your closing for you, and just make sure that this is okay. And if they say yes, it's fine, then go ahead and use this for your transactions. Okay. So this is standard, guys. When I first got into the wholesale business, real estate period, I used to do earnest money deposit. Okay. So I know a lot of people will give backlash about what I'm about to say, but I don't really care. I'm just going to tell you guys my experience, and you can make decisions for yourself from there. So when I first got into the real estate business, wholesale business, whatever, I used to have earnest money deposit on here, and I will always put $500. So my agreement would say, you know, when I speak to the seller, it will always say 500 earnest money deposit, okay? And the seller will always sign off on getting that $500 earnest money deposit, okay? And that was totally fine. Now, if you know, or maybe you don't know, I want you to know that $500 does not go to the seller. I repeat, that $500 do not go to the seller. If you have them sign off on your agreement and you give them $500 cash or check for them to sign, you run the risk of being scammed. You run the risk of them saying, forget you, I'm not selling my property to you, and I'm not giving you your money back. And there's nothing you can do about it, okay? So that is a risk that you run doing that. Do not do that. Now, if you do decide to put down an earnest money deposit, let's say your seller is demanding earnest money and they saying, hey, just to seal the deal, I want to make sure that I get earnest money. And you guys come up with an agreement on price or the amount or whatever. You send that money, you wire that money, or you send that check to the title company, guys, or to the closing attorney. That's where the earnest money deposit goes. It does not go to you. And if it does go to you, we'll talk about that when we do the assignment agreement. But from the seller, you're in control. So make sure your earnest money goes to the title company. In certain situations, I haven't ever been in one of these situations where the seller is going to take the money to the title company. But let's say, for example, if that happens, then you want to make sure that the check is in the name of the title company or the closing attorney. But I would not suggest that ever. I would never suggest that you give any money to any seller. Just don't do it. Like I said, you run the risk of being scammed out of your money, and there's nothing you can do about it. But they can say, take me to court. And obviously, taking somebody to court, that's going to cost you money. So you'll just be out of even more money. So just do it the smart way. Just take the advice and do not, do any of that. But with that being said, I used to put $500 earnest deposit on my agreements, but I learned later on that you don't have to put any earnest money down. I don't even bring it up. I used to have it on the agreement to just like sweeten the deal, and it would be good. But then I started realizing that, a lot of the sellers didn't care. Like the ones that's really motivated, that wanted to sell their properties, they didn't even really care. So I just took earnest money deposit out of my agreements altogether. I don't do it anymore. And like I said, I do this in a lot of markets. And some people are going to say, oh, the contract it's not valid. It's not, if you don't put any money, no good faith deposit down, and it's not valid. That's BS. Okay? That's BS. I've closed a ton of transactions with me not putting any earnest money down, period. Now, if your attorney say something, then you listen to your attorney, okay? And I'm not denying that. Whatever the attorney says do, that's what you do. But a lot of attorneys I work with, they just go by what my papers say, and that's that. And I don't do earnest money deposit anymore. Now, if I do run into a seller that brings it up, and they're like, hey, well, what's the earnest money? How much are you gonna put down so that I know this contract is legitimate or whatever? Then I'll say, well, I could put down $100 earnest money or whatever. Like if they just want earnest money down in there, I'm not going to not do it to lose the deal. Obviously, I'm not silly. If it's going to cost the deal, yes, I'll do earnest deposit. But what I've learned is if you don't bring it up, they not thinking about it. But, so that's just my input on that. But guys, do what makes sense for you. So let's get into this agreement. This is a contract to purchase. I don't like the word contract. I don't use it. If you guys will listen to my videos and hear me talk, you'll know that I don't use the word contract at all. I always use the word agreement. Always use the word agreement. And this is especially important when you're speaking to the seller with your negotiation. Now, when you're talking to your buyers or your buddies or whatever, you can talk about contract. You can talk that contract talk. That's fine. But I don't use that C word with sellers at all. It just seems really too strict. It seems really too it just feel like a nasty word. So I use agreement because we're agreeing on something. Don't that sound more pleasant? Doesn't it sound more nice? Just like, yeah, it's an agreement, okay? But I do have contract to purchase on the contract. So whatever. Contract on the agreement. Cool. So number one, this is the first part. This is just, who this paperwork is between, okay? So you're going to put the seller's name right here. So let's just say Jane Doe is the homeowner, okay? So you'll put Jane Doe right there. And then we'll put your name, you as the buyer, it goes right here. So, this actually goes right here. It goes in the end. All right. All right, here we go. So, and then I'll say, Home Buyers LLC. Okay, so Home Buyers LLC is me. Okay, so you put the homeowner's name here, and then you put your name here, your company. If you're doing this the right way, you always want to do it in a company's name, a LLC. Okay. Now there's other ways to do it. I absolutely, I talk more about that in my training. Whatever. We'll talk about that another time. But LLC is the way you want to do it. And then this is very, very, very important, guys. Very, very important. You have to have and or assigns, okay? Now that is what will allow you assign this purchase agreement to somebody else, okay? Your buyer. When you find an end buyer that's actually going to close on the property, because when you're wholesaling, you're not closing on the property. You're just locking up the property so you can assign it to somebody else and get paid and get a check, okay? Still, you're assigning this to somebody else, and the way that you can do that is by having this and or assigns. That's why it's very important. If you don't have that, you can't assign this. Now, is it the end of the world? No, but there's other ways that you would have to do it, and they're pretty much more expensive. So doing it this way is the simple, cheap, easy way to do it. Quick, simple, cheap, easy, all good words. So make sure you put and or assigns in this, okay? Moving on along, okay? You guys see what all of this says. Agrees to buy from seller the described real estate together with all improvements thereon and all rights located at, and then we'll put the address. I just put 123 East Maple Street. And let's say, let's do New York. I don't know any of New York's zip codes, so let's just make up a zip code. 00125. I don't know. This isn't the real address, guys. I'm just doing this strictly for purposes to show you. I have no idea of any New York anything. I just figured New York would be a good city and state to use. Okay, moving on. Since New York stuff is pretty expensive, we're gonna have to do a good purchase price. So how much ever you're getting the property under contract for is what's going to go under the purchase price. We're in New York, so let's say this is actually probably on the low end side. We're going to say $980,000. Okay, $980,000. All right. And then we get into the terms and the conditions. The condition of the purchase are as follows. When you're doing a cash deal, it's always going to be as is. So number 3 is the property is to be purchased as is. You're purchasing the property as is. Now, is there an addendum to the agreement? All right. When it's a cash, regular wholesale deal, it's always going to be no. So you want to circle that, okay? You want to circle that, but since we are on the computer, I'm just going to highlight it green, okay? No, there is not an addendum. Now, in other type of scenarios, creative financing, maybe lease options, subject tools, maybe you get into some addendum type stuff, and that's why this agreement is good, guys, because you can use it for regular wholesale closings, but you also can use the same agreement for creative financing. And I talk about that in my training. We go into details. I show you how to use the same purchase agreement for creative financing. When I purchase properties with $0 down, when I purchase that property for $5, I use this same agreement. And the $5 that I paid wasn't to the seller, it was actually on marketing. So I paid $5 for marketing, and I made almost $30,000. Okay, so with that being said, this agreement right here is universal. You can use it for all different types of transactions. Okay, so let's keep it pushing. This transaction is all cash. Okay, we're just doing a regular wholesale assignment of contract, so it's going to be all cash. Okay, if it was any terms, we would select terms. Number 5, possession is to be given on or before the date of closing. Number 6, seller agrees to pay all taxes and assessments up to and including the date of the title transfer. So what that means, guys, is when the transaction is entitled or with the closing attorney, and they're doing all the things that they do, the taxes is going to reflect the day that the title transfer. Okay, so the seller will continue to pay taxes until the buyer takes possession, and the buyer won't start paying taxes until the day they take possession. Okay, moving on along. Number 7, the closing cost shall be paid by. Okay, this is very, very important. This is really like a negotiation tactic, and depending on how much you need to sweeten your deal is going to decide which one you pick. Now, if I was purchasing this property for myself, I would probably go in saying one way, but my wholesale deals, my assignments, I always have the buyer take care of the closing costs, because I use that in my negotiation. That's like an extra incentive to the seller, so I can get that price, where I want it to be, because I say, hey, I'll take care of your closing costs. Okay, so the buyer always takes care of the closing costs. That's how I do it anyway. And most end buyers, they know the game, they know that's how it goes, so they don't really give any backlash to that. But sometimes they do, and then you'll have to use negotiation on their end. You say, okay, well, since you're taking care of the closing costs, then instead of buying it for $9,000, let's say instead of buying it for $1 million, maybe you'll buy it for $999 or something like that. So that's just an extra tactic you can use. It's just negotiation stuff. So then you have to pick a closing date. All right, today is the 17th. So closing date shall be on or before. I always do 30 days out. So let's say June 17th, 2021. All right. All right. Number 9, this agreement is contingent to a 10-day inspection period for due diligence and subject to review, inspection, and written approval of my financial partner. Now, this clause is very, very important, guys. Number 9, What this is this inspection period is also negotiable. Is also it fluctuates. Sometimes it might be 3 day inspection period. Sometimes you might get 5. I always shoot for the most I can get, which is 10, because I want to obviously close as quickly as I can, but at the same time I want to use as much time as I can as well to find a buyer. And then so you use that 10 days to show the property to buyers and things like that. And this also is a clause to get you out of this contract if you can't find a buyer for it. So let's say you try to market this agreement to somebody, and you can't find a buyer for it. You could just go back to the seller and be like, hey, my financial partner says the numbers don't work. We during our inspection period, my contractors went in there, the property inspector went in there, and they found a lot of issues that we weren't anticipating. And for the price that we discussed, this isn't going to work, and we're not going to be able to move forward. So you can use number 9 to get out of the agreement altogether, but you also can use it to get your purchase price lower. You also can go back. Let's say you show this to buyers, and the buyer, and you get an offer for like $985, right? And you like $5,000. That's really not a big enough spread for me. That's not gonna work. You can go back to the seller and say, during the inspection period XYZ, in order for us to close on this property, we need to get that purchase price down to $975, okay? Or $965 or whatever, and then you can make your 10 or your 20 or whatever, and then they can go ahead and say, okay, fine, let's go ahead and do it. Let's just get this done, and you guys can get it closed. Or they can say no, or you can say no, and then you can get out of the agreement, and you're not like held or binded to anything. Okay. All right, moving on. Number 10, I just put this into my agreement maybe like 6 to 8 months ago. And this has been a lifesaver because this actually just paints the picture of getting access to the property. All right. So it just says if property is currently occupied, seller agrees to give buyer access to the property with a 24-hour notice. If property is currently vacant, seller agrees to give buyer unrestricted access via contractor lockbox. So that's really good. So what happens is you can go ahead and put your lockbox on the property, put the key in there, makes it much simpler to show your buyers and contractors and all that type of stuff. And you don't have to call the seller every time you want to show the property or anything like that. And the seller is very comfortable because they know, hey, you got an inspection period, that they know what you're doing, and everything is good. So number 10 is very important, and you definitely want to have that in there. Number 11, this offer, when accepted, compromises the entire agreement of purchaser and seller. I had purchaser here, but I'm just going to put a buyer just so we can keep the language, parallel. And it is agreed that no other representations or agreements have been made or relied upon. So this just, they sign off that they don't have any other deals with any other wholesalers, any other investors, any other realtors, or anything like that, okay? Number 12, this offer is to remain open for acceptance. And I usually do depending on, if I'm going to go meet somebody, I'll put 24 hours on here. But if it's a virtual thing, usually I'll give them a little longer, maybe 2 days, 2 to 3 days. So if we put, today's the 17th, so I'll put May 19th, 2021. So if they don't sign this and give it back by then, it's pretty much saying that it expires. So then you have them sign and date here, and then you sign and date here. All right, and you have yourself a legally binding agreement. And once you have this, this is all you need to be able to start marketing this property to buyers and getting yourself on your way to making money on your wholesale transactions. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next part of this video, part 2, and I'm going to show you how to do the other side, which is the assignment.